Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Big shout out to all the iTrack fam tapping in yet again like you always do. And if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy TikToks and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and join the iTrack fam, and let's just go ahead and jump straight into it.
Elon Musk, in some ways, has the body language of a character from Sims. That's beautiful. Probably what that is that Elon Musk at some point was just like a nerdy kid, and he learned his reality and his behavior so deeply from games, probably including Sims, because isn't he like the 5th best in the world at some online game? He is, isn't he? He's so embedded in that reality, the same way as that I am with television. Like my whole life I've been like looking at TV and sitcom characters. Elon Musk is so embedded that he's actually mimicking the language. Elon Musk was raised by Sims. He is a Neuralink. He's sort of already enmeshed with that kind of, I was going to say artificial intelligence, but whatever that intelligence is.
Now that was a bit cringe. Let's not lie about it.
Er is dus brandweer gekomen omdat er een duif of een meeuw hangt, maar aan een draadje of zo. Maar hij zweeft in de lucht. Hij leeft nog. Ja. Wat is dit, joh?
I wanted to, but literally at the last minute, I was like, I just want to come meet the president. Thank you for being here. I'm serious. I wish you the best. I got your back, so hopefully you got our backs. Yeah, well, I'll go over the plans first thing. Hey guys, first things first, this video is 100% alleged. Please do not take the contents of this video for fact, as it is not fact. I am a lip reader, and that is not how lip reading works. I am not able to know 100% that what I think is being said is actually being said. Therefore, this is 100% alleged and is not fact. Wow, if you're new here, I'm Nina. I do lip reading, and the amount of requests and interest in this exchange is like, it's crazy. The videos of this interaction are blowing up on multiple platforms and multiple videos. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this, but here we are. What I think they're talking about in the beginning is Trump probably said something like, I didn't expect you here, or I thought you were going to be somewhere else. And then Newsom replies saying, oh, I wanted to, or whatever, but I actually decided I wanted to be here instead to greet you. And then the rest of the conversation is pretty self-explanatory. I think since it's very public, I didn't expect to read anything juicy. What do you guys think?
I mean, I guess I expected the conversation to be probably a bit more hostile considering all the fires in Los Angeles, but you never know what goes on behind closed doors between politicians and the like, right?
The most demon-possessed person in politics right now.
Oh! There are so many candidates.
I agree. I think U.S. politics is run by demons.
Well, greed.
Greed, yes.
The spirit of mammon.
Spirit of who?
A mammon.
Oh.
And the spirit of Leviathan, the spirit of pride, runs politics. I know how desperately you wanted me to say Nancy Pelosi or Bernie Sanders or Kamala Harris, but I'm not going to do it.
Maybe Trump. Maybe Trump's got a demon.
Maybe. Anybody could have demons. And some of those people override those impulses by trying to do the right thing with a belief system that is good. But
what I'm really getting at is Hillary Clinton.
You don't know how they sleep at night. and you don't know what they're like behind closed doors. None of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It isn't how we act in public. It's how we treat our families, our innocent children, our spouses, our friends. Jesus said, greater love has no man than this, than to lay down his life for a friend.
Now, did you catch he was doing a lot of signaling with his nose, right? Like after certain keywords, he was like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I was reading too deep into it, but let me know what you think.
Ethiopia is the only country in the world that actually claims to have the Ark of the Covenant. They have an ancient Church of St. Mary of Zion, where the Ark apparently was kept for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then now it's been moved into a chapel. And that chapel is guarded by armed men. The whole town is an armed camp that is protecting what they believe to be the Ark of the Covenant.
And no one is going in there and trying to get to the bottom of it? They won't let you?
They won't let you. They won't let you.
So these tunnels underground, which lead to a vast city beneath Manhattan, were created by the Vanderlei family, who were one of 7 families that allegedly came from beyond the ice wall and discovered our world centuries ago.
Exactly. Story goes our world's a whole lot bigger than we've been led to believe, buddy. That we are allegedly surrounded by this massive ice wall. Somewhere far outside of this ice wall, there is a place called the Ancestral Lands. This is where the Vanderleis were from. They, along with 6 other families, reigned supreme over the ancestral lands. They were like royalty. Amidst one of their expeditions, they discovered a massive wall made of ice in the middle of the ocean. Eventually, they found passages in the ice wall big enough for their ship to get inside. And the weeks that followed marked the discovery of 7 different continental landmasses. Each family claimed one. And so our world was born. They devised a plan to populate each continent with their own people from the ancestral lands, but only embryos, so they, or we, would have no knowledge of our origins.
About Bill Cosby, you ever get to meet him or not? Before he had all the problems?
Is being a rapist one of the problems?
Oh, okay, sorry.
I would love to hear you disprove evolution. Can we do that?
If evolution is true, then you go through a progressive evolution, if you will, of these organisms evolving into an increasingly more being-like creature. The problem is there's zero evidence of that. The problem is you have these single-celled organisms and multi-celled organisms, and then there's just a giant gap in the fossil record. And you have animals, and then you have man. But we don't have a fossil record that takes us from single and multi-celled organisms into an entire species. And we just simply ignore that.
Wow.
And so
I didn't know that.
This ecosystem is so intelligent, not in my opinion, but in the scientific evidence, it could not have been put together by accident. It didn't happen by happenstance.
Yeah, I always found that kind of interesting myself. Like, shouldn't there be some kind of fossils that show the in-between growth between, you know, from point A to point B? Like, there's been none of that, right? That's pretty odd.
I think we did it, y'all. DJ Akademiks is pretty much out of here, bro. Bro is getting packed up everywhere I turn, bro. And he's not handling it well. That's the best part. The best part is he's not able to just brush it off and, nah, he feeling this, bro. Because they in the chat too. On top of that, he getting less people in his streams. He has no credibility. People don't buy into the fake narratives that his pages post no more. We might have just knocked out one of the biggest cancers in this culture, bro. We really might have just did that, and that show you our power. And we have the power to do that. We deserve journalism that's in favor of hip-hop and in favor of the culture, not in favor of exploitation of the culture. There's a difference. If you don't understand it, then it's not for you. Just click off the video and save your comment for somebody else. Go play with your mom, okay? The people that do understand it, understand it. DJ Akademiks ain't the only one in a bad situation. Drake might be going to jail, bro. Just drop the video explaining it on YouTube. Click the link in my bio. This is not clickbait. This is for real.
Yeah, I saw the whole DJ Akademiks fiasco, and I was very disappointed. I've been watching DJ Akademiks for a long time now, and this was a bit of a hard pill to swallow. Definitely.
Have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office from President Trump directly. an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds all good and dandy, but like, what was up with all the plasmoids and all the other stuff that was going on, right? It seemed a bit deeper than drones, or was it just me? Let me know what you think.
Guys, you have to hear what she's saying. This is live. Go ahead.
Law enforcement and the military, so they have clear guidelines on how to assess these issues going forward. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Ms. Bobert for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now that we have all been cautioned in this committee hearing that the mention of Pentagon's Immaculate Constellation program could put us on a list, well, I already find myself on many lists, I'm sure. So I speak my mind often, so why not just keep going with it? May as well just go all out and say it. The earth is flat, birds are government drones, and we've never set foot on the moon, and Joe Biden received 81 million votes in the 2020 election. So let's just see how many lists we could get on here today.
Ooh, what?
Mr. Schellenberger, I wanted to ask.
DeepSeek was hit by a large-scale cyber attack today, causing it to temporarily limit registrations. Earlier, the AI startup became the top-rated free app in Apple's U.S. App Store and overtook ChatGPT in downloads. DeepSeek claims it uses less data and cheaper chips. This sent tech stocks down, with shares of NVIDIA falling as much as 17.8% at one point.
There were 15 major theological religious movements in the world before Christianity that taught exactly the same identical story of a Messiah who came to the earth, who was born in a manger, who died on a cross, who had 12 apostles, who died with a crown of thorns. Are you aware that there were 15 major religions that had the same identical teachings of Christianity? Most people aren't. And I'm very suspect of a 16th religion, which is copied off of 15 previous religions, and I am told that this one is the truth. I become very suspect. And of course, God's son, S-U-N, the Egyptians said had an evil brother. He was the prince of darkness. And he came out at night to rule the world. When God's son died and went away, the world was in the hands of the prince of darkness. And his name was Set. And he came out at sunset. The Egyptians said that newborn sun that came up every morning, his name was Horus. In Easter, we have Easter sunrise services, Horus Horizon. That's where we get the word horizon. I'm saying that there are 15 major religions in the world before Christianity that have taught the same thing. It is a very ancient, old story. That's why the Bible's called the greatest story ever told.
One of the things that I learned from whistleblowers from the cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules state that they have to tell us what they're doing. Therefore, if we allow it to happen, we have consented to tyranny, we have consented to enslavement. Now, if you get into the secret history of the cabal, Queen Elizabeth's royal astrologer, a man named John Dee, who is the prototype of the wizard with the long beard, the hat, and what he did was to rediscover, through these ancient documents that were in the Vatican, the technology of how to access what they considered to be spiritual beings that were useful to them, but what we would consider to be demonic or evil beings. These beings need to be accessed through a very complex set of rituals and ceremonies. You cannot just ask for them to show up. You have to follow very elaborate and specific protocols. So John Dee rediscovered the technology of how to draw the magic circles, how to say the right incantations, how to actually do black magic on a governmental level. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice black magic.
Majority of cancers are actually parasite infections, misdiagnosed as cancerous tumors, masses, cysts, period. So if you have uterine fibroids, if you have ovarian cysts, if you have thyroid goiters, if you have liver masses, lung lesions or masses, and you've been told that they're cancerous, or breast nodules, 80% of the time it's actually a parasite egg sac, not cancer or anything. But in America, they get zero education in parasitology, and they are told in America that parasites don't exist in America. However, the CDC says it's very common to get parasites in America. It's very odd that the CDC says that, but the medical schools don't teach that. But parasites are the number one cause of cancer in America. There is a second, very close cause of cancer, and they've known it since 1956. That is snake venom. It causes cancer. Turbo cancers is what they called it. And then these two scientists that figured it out, who were paid by the American Cancer Society to figure it out, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine for figuring out how to make cancers really quickly with venom. You have parasites or you have venom. Oh, and by the way, the venom-based cancers are dissolved with nicotine. In fact, brain tumors can be dissolved in less than 3 days with nicotine. And I have the studies to prove it. It's in my presentation called The Other N-Word, the other N-word being nicotine, because it makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and the government made sure of that.
I always knew about parasites, but not to that level, right? Like nowadays, everybody's doing a parasite cleanse, but we didn't know that they were causing cancer. So that's pretty concerning that it's not being talked about at all by doctors. In fact, I don't know of anybody who's ever been told by a doctor that they have parasites in their body, like at all. So that's pretty wild.
Elon Musk's net worth of $433.9 billion isn't just massive, it's mind-blowing when compared to entire countries and organizations. His fortune exceeds the GDP of Denmark at $405 billion and Iran at $401 billion. It's larger than the combined economies of Portugal and New Zealand. About 150 countries have smaller GDPs than Musk's wealth. His net worth is more than 1.5 times China's military budget of $231 billion, almost 5 times Russia's defense spending of $88 billion. Musk's wealth is greater than the combined market value of Ford and General Motors. He could also buy every NFL, NBA, and MLB team worth a combined $260 billion, or fund the entire International Space Station program, costing $150 billion, nearly 3 times over. On the humanitarian front, his wealth could end world hunger for 10 years, or provide clean drinking water to the entire planet for decades.
I mean, you can rest assured that he won't be doing any of that. That man is stuck on trying to get us to Mars or get himself to Mars. I don't know. It's kind of scary. Like, can a person remain honest with that kind of wealth? That's the real question.
You have got to be kidding me. So now you're telling me that they are acting out a mock Last Supper? While earlier he was sworn in without putting his hand on the Bible, while he was underneath the apotheos. This entire day is a giant ritual that we are witnessing unfold right in front of our eyes. Here's a good post by Navigating the Lies. What are the odds that Trump is swearing in below the apotheos of Washington inside the rotunda, which is the belly of ISIS? Now the apotheos means deification, and the rotunda is where we have the attempt to resurrect the seed of Osiris during the presidential inauguration. This all screams pagan ritual. But this entire day screams of a ritual. I mean, you can't make this up. And the idolatry is absolutely disgusting. As we can see, the return of the king. And this situation right here with the mock Last Supper makes me think of the Paris Olympics, where they also had a mock Last Supper, where they also had a white horse rider riding on the water.
Fast is the world about to turn upside down?
Yes. So I would say that I think the thing that most distinguishes AI from previous technological revolutions is exactly the speed at which it's happening. So I've been in the field for 10 years. I've been watching that curve for 10 years. And me and my co-founders at Anthropic were among the first to document what we call the scaling laws, which is the observation that as you pour more compute into these models with small changes in the algorithms according to which they're developed, they improve very fast on cognitive abilities. And so exponentials kind of start slow and very quickly pick up speed. And I think we're actually, I've become probably in the last 3 to 6 months more confident that we really are heading towards AI systems that are better than almost all humans at almost all tasks. My guess, and I'm still not certain of it, but I think with some of the things we've seen with models starting to be as good as PhD students in in areas like math and programming and biology. It is my guess that by 2026 or 2027, we will have AI systems that are broadly better than almost all humans at almost all things.
For the people in the back that still think AI is a game, rewind that clip, man. It's going to age nicely for you.
Speaking of Mark Zuckerberg, did you hear about the house he's building in Hawaii? Freaky.
No.
Oh, freaky. And he's building this very secretive compound, built walls all around this property so no one can see what he's doing. And everyone working on the site has to sign an NDA. Some of the plans for his lair, mansion, whatever compound got leaked. Basically, it's a mansion, but underneath it is a bigger mansion with like the walls are made out of metal and concrete, blast doors.
No.
And they have their own underground room or whatever to where they can grow their own food. They have their own water supply. He's making its own self-sufficient place. And one of the things had an actual nuclear blast door.
He's getting as far away from civilization as you possibly can be.
The idea with being in Hawaii is I guess you want to be surrounded by water or just unreachable.
Or just unreachable, probably. But what's creepy is this guy in New Zealand who's a contractor who builds basically underground giant bunkers. He's had over 11 billionaires build bunkers in New Zealand. And it's a reoccurring theme where all these billionaires are like building bunkers and like doing all this weird stuff. It's like, I think they might know something.
Hey, if I had $1 billion, I'd do the same thing. And if you had $1 billion, I hope you would too.
See that right there? That is the mark of the beast. So what you just saw is the oldest text of the book of Revelation, Apocalypse, right here. All you have to do is navigate to literally the Vatican Library where they have the oldest known copy. It dates back to 400 AD, where Revelation chapter 13, the very last verse is talking about the mark being 666. Actually, that's what it looks like right there in the Greek, the original Greek. And just in case you need a refresher, this is what the very last verse of chapter 13 of Revelation says. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take what we saw in the original manuscript and I'm going to digitize it, make it look way higher quality, but I'm also going to modify it a little bit because when you look at the original Mark of the Beast from the original manuscript in Greek and you just play with it a little bit like I'm doing right here, all right? You just flip these little characters a little bit. Actually, the first and last stay the same, but you kind of flip the middle. Look what it becomes. And can you see what this is really talking about? And do you see it? You can see it, right? Come on, man. You can see it, can't you? Please tell me you can see it. And where are they wearing it? Huh. On their foreheads. Interesting.
Anyone else find it strange that nobody in America actually owns their home? I know a lot of people think they own their home. You know, they took out a mortgage, they paid it for 30 years, they paid it off, and now they own it. But they don't, because the government does. Like the actual homeowner of every house in America is the government. Because here's the thing, if you actually own something, once you paid for it, you get to keep it. But that doesn't happen with houses. Think it through logically. In order to purchase a home, a person has to make money from a job, which is money that the government's already taxed. Then they need to spend that money on the home, which the government taxes. And then while you're living in that home, you have to pay utility bills, which the government taxes. You have to pay for insurance, which the government taxes. You have to pay for repairs. You have to pay for upkeep, all of which the government taxes. And then once you get to the point that you have completely paid off your home, you still have to pay the government for the privilege of living in the home that you paid off in the form of property taxes. And property taxes just make no fucking sense. It's basically the government saying, yes, we know you paid for it. Yes, we know we didn't do anything to help you pay for it. In fact, we did the exact opposite and took money from you, making it harder to pay for the home. And then everything you needed for the home, we charged you more for. But if you don't continue to pay us property tax even after you pay off your home, we're going to take it from you. That's not ownership. Every single person in America is a renter, even if you think you own your home. You don't. You're just renting it from the government. And if you don't believe me, don't pay your rent. Don't pay that property tax for a little bit and see what your government landlord does.
It take 9 planets to complete the solar system, right? 360 degrees is a complete circle, and that equals 9, right?
Give it to him.
A square, even a square, perfect 4 corners is 90 degrees each. 90 times 4 is 360. 360 equals 9.
And then number 9 means?
It means completion. So there's a lot of completions going to happen this year. That's basically what I'm saying. Everybody needs to identify what they need to complete and complete everything this year.
And you can see him waking up to the reality as the words were leaving his mouth.
He's seen this video.
The devil cannot do anything he wants to you anytime he wants. If he could, why wouldn't he go ahead and do it? Why would he have to deceive you first? See, wrong thinking is trying to deceive you away from faith, away from the faith in your heart, drawing you up to the mental arena. The devil may threaten somebody, you're going to lose your home. Well, if he could cause that to happen, why didn't he just do it? Why does he have to even discuss it with you? Why does he have to even try to inject that thought? Because he can't do it until he can get you agreeing with it. So know this, as a child of God, you have absolute and total authority over anything that the enemy would try to work against you.
This is one of the more factual clips that I definitely can agree with.
Why they actually took down TikTok for that little period.
Why?
Apparently, like, they didn't even have to ban, or they didn't have to take it down.
Okay.
Because they never got like a notice from the government saying, yo, let's take it down. So them taking it down was almost the litmus test to see how it would go.
Okay.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Now, the theory is, the reason they did that, though, was because there's too many real conspiracies on the app that were becoming way too popular.
Okay.
And they just wanted to reset everybody's algorithm.
Word.
So a lot of people on TikTok right now, they're saying they used to have all of these TikToks of conspiracy theories, LA fires, Diddy, Luigi, and there was so much at once.
Yeah.
And it's hard to stop that from becoming popularized if that's what's going viral, right? So what happens to everyone's For You page? Goes deeper and deeper into conspiracy, into almost like breaking down government secrets.
Because that's what the algorithm would feed that person.
Exactly. And it's popularizing that mindset of looking like that.
That's crazy. They just don't want man's informed. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So what people are saying was that reset was to make everybody's For You page different.
Okay.
And to change everyone so that they can just push more whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy because like usually I do my research on TikTok before I come in the podcast, like some YouTube, some TikTok, but like directly TikTok. And there are some conspiracy theorists that I usually like take like I research stories from. And yo, you have to, it's like they're shadow banned. Like you got to search for them. But I actually had to search up his profile, like his whole name, type in his whole name.
Yeah.
Alexa, what is smart dust?
Smart dust is a technology concept for creating tiny, wireless sensors that can be used for a variety of applications, including biomedical monitoring, environmental monitoring, and industrial monitoring. These sensors are designed to be small, low cost, and energy efficient, and they can be used to collect various types of data. The dust-sized devices would be wirelessly powered and communicate with each other and a base station.
It's a rare strain of bird flu that's now been discovered here in the U.S., where it's been detected, with egg prices already skyrocketing. And new questions tonight about how quickly Americans are actually getting the information on bird flu that they need. Here's Ariel Reshef on that.
Tonight, as a fast-moving bird flu outbreak sends egg prices skyrocketing.
$14.99 for eggs?
Word, the U.S. has now detected a different, more rare strain of bird flu in California. According to a new global health alert, that farm was forced to destroy nearly 119,000 birds. Last week, a farm on New York's Long Island had to kill 100,000 ducks after an outbreak. And in Illinois, Cockadoodle Farm lost 3,000 hens in a matter of days.
We're like, oh, maybe it's environmental, or, and the next day hundreds were gone. And we're like, this is something.
Despite 67 human cases of bird flu and 1 death, there has been no confirmed person-to-person spread. Just days after Donald Trump took office, there are questions about missing updates on bird flu. Health agencies have been ordered to pause public communications until it's been reviewed and approved by a presidential appointee. Former White House COVID response coordinator Dr. Ashish Jha is urging the new administration to take bird flu seriously.
The biggest lesson from COVID is if you get on top of things early, if you do surveillance, if you do testing, it doesn't have to be disruptive. And that is what I'm worried we're going to make the same set of mistakes.
And David, multiple sources tell ABC News that a new report on bird flu was among those that was not released by the CDC last week because of that communications freeze. David?
Ariel Reshef tonight. Ariel, thank you.
Scary facts you wish you never knew.
CNN has had a pre-recorded broadcast from the 90s, which they will premiere during the end of the world. A mysterious unknown Russian had a pre-recorded broadcast.
It doesn't have to be disruptive. And that is what I'm worried we're going to make the same set of mistakes.
And David, multiple sources tell ABC News that a new report on bird flu was among those that was not released by the CDC last week because of that communications freeze. David?
Ariel Reshef tonight. Ariel, thank you.
Scary facts you wish you never knew.
CNN has had a pre-recorded broadcast from the 90s, which they will premiere during the end of the world. A mysterious unknown Russian radio station has been broadcasting a strange buzzing, punctuated by intermittent code words, since 1973. Typing 444 will turn on TikTok's dark mode. There is a shack called the Devil's Toy Box in Louisiana, and for some reason people who go in lose their mind. Do you know the tingly feeling you get when you eat a pineapple? Well, that's because the pineapple is eating you. It has an enzyme called bromelain, and that enzyme eats meat, which you're made of. 23% of children under the age of 13 have experienced auditory illusions, meaning they've heard voices. Sharks have been around for 420 million years, meaning they have survived all 4 big mass extinctions, making them older than dinosaurs, Mount Everest, and even some trees on this planet.
It is now 89 seconds to midnight. This is the closest the world has ever been to midnight. Any move towards midnight should be taken as an indication of extreme danger and an unmistakable warning.
Pineal gland in the group of wealthy people is active. The pineal gland of the average person is calcified, which means it's not very active at all. It's not broadcasting. It is a problem if your pineal gland is calcified. I'm going to talk about why it got calcified in a minute, and then you may get really mad. If your pineal gland is calcified, you can't broadcast.
We got to talk about what the real NASA is doing in our oceans. First of all, the NASA you know of does not exist. It's all a lie. The real NASA is actually the National Anunnaki Subversion Agency. Yeah, let that sink in because we're about to go deeper. NASA have found Anunnaki artifacts and technology on Earth, and most of it is in the sea. NASA, under the guise of space exploration, is actually involved in uncovering and suppressing evidence of ancient astronaut contact between the Anunnaki and early human civilizations. Do you not think that it's weird that we supposedly know more about the surface of Mars and the Moon than our own oceans? Don't you think it's strange that only 5% of the sea has been explored, but they send probes out to space? That's because it's all kept. They know exactly what's down there, and they don't want us sniffing around and realizing our true potential as humans. Let me make something clear. NASA never stopped exploring the oceans. The sudden halt in deep-sea missions was a strategic move to prevent these discoveries from becoming public. You all need to know that what they have discovered in our oceans is so monumental that it would shake humanity to its core. And again, this is just for entertainment purposes.
If you have a headache, most people would think that it's your brain that hurts. But that's not the case here. You see, your brain itself can't actually feel pain. It's like a superhero with a secret weakness. So where does that throbbing agony come from? The pain you feel in a headache, it's actually coming from your head muscles and arteries, not the brain. So what does the bladder do? It stores urine and empty urine. So holding your urine too long can lead to problems in the future, such as urinary tract infections, urinary leakage, and then bladder wall weakening. So when you feel that need to pee, go pee. Did you know your body needs 600 IU of vitamin D daily, which is 30 minutes of sunlight? Your body needs 400 milligrams of magnesium daily, which is 1 cup of almonds. Your body needs 1,000 milligrams of calcium daily, which is equal to 3 cups of milk. Your body needs 10 milligrams of zinc daily, which is 2 oysters. Your body needs 90 milligrams of vitamin C daily, which is 2 oranges. Merry Christmas to you.
Only as I get older, I find out that your gut has a lot to do with your mental health, headaches, all that kind of stuff. It kind of blew my mind.
Guys, nobody's talking about it, but between me and the airport, or me and the Strip, is the Las Vegas airport. I was out here for 3 hours last night. Not a single plane took off or landed, and then the same thing's happening tonight. Last night I have video footage of there was a bunch of different lights around, like beams of lights it looked like, around this part above the Strip. But tonight, we've got sitters. And I'm very confused at why no planes are landing and they're just flying over and around the Strip. There's another one that's out there. So you can see the planes in the background moving, whereas the other objects are not.
So Martin Lawrence was recently on a Breakfast Club, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Something sound very, very off about his voice. Y'all gotta hear it. Also, Charlemagne brung up how people say if you wear a dress in Hollywood, you sold out or you're part of the Illuma, you know. And this is what Martin had to say.
I also wondered too, but when growing up, watching you play Shanae, watching you in Big Mama's house, I never thought anything of it. I just thought it was funny. But nowadays, you hear people say, "Oh, that's you got to sell your soul in Hollywood, and that's humiliation rituals and the Illuminati."
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
It's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
What?
Doing what I do, doing Big Mama and characters like that, Shanae or whatever. These are strong black women, and I'm a comedian, and I'm not above playing a character, putting on a dress or whatever, because I'm in tune with my manhood, so I know who I am, so I don't worry about all that.
I mean, the way he breaks it down, it makes sense to me. If you're a comedian, you're in it for the laugh, right? You're trying to get everybody to have a good laugh, and you're trying to provide a character every single time you're on stage or every single time you're in the movie. So, I mean, it makes sense to me, but let me know what you think.
Scary facts you didn't know. Your brain can imagine terrifying scenarios in the dark that feel more real than dreams. Every human has tiny mites living on their face, feeding on oils and dead skin cells while you sleep. The sound you hear when you crack your knuckles is gas escaping from your joints, similar to how bodies bloat and pop after death. There's a fungus that turns ants into zombies, forcing them to climb to their deaths. The majority of elevators have a hidden hatch above them, used to retrieve people who died in elevator accidents. Your reflection in the mirror could move a fraction of a second slower than you. Your brain just compensates so you don't notice.
I was a part of the Gifted and Talented program in the 90s, and I just found my binder. The things I found. For starters, they had us doing worksheets in Morse code. Here's one of them. So they gave us at the top what the Morse code is, and then we had to fill out the rest of the worksheets to make codes and messages and stuff in Morse code. A lot of our worksheets were about different codes. This one is literally called Codes to Crack. So you can see there, they gave us 8 letters, and each of the columns is a different code. So for this one, there was 8 letters. They gave us the corresponding letters, and then we had to figure out the rest of the alphabet and fill in the rest of the column. But there's so much more. The stuff I found in there, I'm like, what were you training us for? Why was I 10 years old speaking Russian? It's cool, but I don't actually remember anything except that's my name. So I do remember that. I'll share more as I go through the whole thing, but it's there's hundreds of worksheets in there, so it's gonna take me a minute.
Wait, what? You guys know about this? 15-year-old Jessica Alba kidnapped on the set of Flipper, found 14 hours later bound and gagged in a car trunk. Her case remains unsolved to this day. I had never heard about this. Damn. So apparently this all happened in 1996 when she was working on Flipper in Australia. She started getting some weird phone calls. And then for 14 hours, she was just gone. Nobody could find her. before they eventually found her bound and gagged in the trunk of a car miles away from the set. To this day, they never found any connection, any evidence, nothing.
Now, if that's true, she has to be one of the most resilient people in the industry, because she still did plenty of movies and TV shows after that so-called incident. So that's pretty wild. And she went on to build $1 billion company, right? Like the whole Honest company. Yeah, so she's rich. So yeah. That'd be wild if that's true. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and join the iTrack fam. Keep up with the latest and greatest creepy videos on the net. I will definitely catch you on the next one.